Welcome to Damascus Sector Session 4. Last session, our heroes were exploring the ship graveyard in 364 Sagan. They were sent there on behalf of Corpacora, the Caphis crime boss, to recover tech. Corpacora had loaned them a small fighter called the Bounty and a Clason mercenary called Togger. The heroes moved slowly through the system in their ship, the Defiant, examining the human and alien ships that seemed to be the aftermath of an ancient battle during the early days of the Dominion. Balan and Judo finally managed to salvage and partially restore an antique gunship, getting it to something resembling a working order. They also encountered a strange, ancient alien weapon platform which seemed to have some connection with the mysterious force known as the Way. Eventually, finding their way through to the centre, Tan and Togger discovered what appeared to be the carcass or the armour of a large four-armed alien that bore a strange star sword clasped across its chest, which Tan took and then escaped, having spoken with perhaps the spirit or the genius loci of the place, which explained that its tech could not be allowed to fall into the hands of those who would misuse it, and then the station disappeared. Balan and Judo moved the DSG-1314, the ship that they had salvaged, to rejoin the rest of the fleet. As they were preparing to manoeuvre through the graveyard, 3 star cruisers approached their position rapidly, being picked up on their ship's exterior sensors and bearing down on them. A communication was received from a silver-plated cyborg who ordered them to stand down and be prepared to be converted to the Cyber Legions. We begin on the Defiant. So, Tylo runs in as the communication finishes, runs into the cockpit, diving over the seat into the control station, shouting, "Nope!" and killing the communication. Tylo, you have a few seconds to react. What do you want to do?
Put the ship into a dive would be the best route, considering how close they are to us.
Okay, you throw the stick forward and the ship goes into a dive. You glance back over your shoulder and through the open sort of doorway you can see in the crew quarter section where you'd had your meeting, Tan and Togger sort of stood there, sort of still looking in your direction as you just burst out into the cockpit. Balan and Judo are still aboard the gunship, although they were in communication with you via the sort of ship-to-ship comms. As you sort of glance down at your control panels as you push the stick forward, sending the Defiant into a spiralling dive, and you register that a large energy spike is beginning from the center ship of the cyborg fleet. Suddenly, the interior alarms on the ship ring out.
Guys, you better sort that out.
Tan and Rob, if you want to play Togger, you should be able to move that counter, so feel free. Tan and Togger, you glance, there's suddenly like a sound, and as you look in the direction of the cargo bay, you see 5 blinding flashes, and as the flashes clear, the sort of imprint still on your retina, you see 5 metallic figures stood there, cyborgs holding laser rifles. They appear to have teleported onto the midst of your ship. and they're facing directly towards you in the cargo bay. And I'm going to make a quick roll for initiative as we start this encounter. So let me run that. So if I reveal the cyborgs, they would normally be going first, but obviously they've just teleported in. That was effectively their action for this round. Now, to explain, obviously as you can see, it's a very simple map we've got here, since I don't think we really need to deal with like the intricacies of how many feet you're running through the ship. Effectively, you can choose to either take a non-movement action, or you can choose to move to an adjacent section. The sections are all colour-coded to match the names of them, which are just to the right of the diagram. If you want to see the ship's stats, if you click on the little icon of the ship, which is about there, if you double click on it, it should show you the ship's stats. Okay, so first of all, since I'm going to skip over the cyborgs because they've had their go for this round, we come first to Tan. So as I say, you've heard this of displaced air, and as this flash has cleared from your retina, there are 5 of these metallic armoured figures with these sliding red lights on their visors. They all move as one, sort of like lifting up their laser rifles and preparing to step forwards.
Right. So there's probably places here to take cover, right?
There is indeed.
Sort of abstract map that we have. So I'll dive behind cover here on this side, and I'll yell to Toga. It's like, don't just stand there. Go, get to cover. Get to the cover.
Okay, Rob, obviously you're in charge of Toga. That's fine, you can move if you want to. Obviously we haven't drawn all the furniture on and whatever, but it's so feel free to take a bit of license with the sort of stuff you'd find in the relevant departments. We all know what sort of things are in crew quarters and cargo bays and whatnot. But yeah, if you're taking cover behind something, you effectively get +2 AC. So anytime you said take cover and I say fine, you get +2 AC until you move out of cover. So yeah. I'll rely on you guys to take that into account.
And so what I'll do is I'll get my energy shield ignited. So there's the metal disc on the forearm, which then extends the energy disc.
Indeed, as you hold it out, there's like a and this sort of disc of slightly rippling energy appears around your extended arm. Although obviously you feel no weight because it's energy.
And I'll take the alien star sword that I recovered and ignite that as well. And then I'll, like hunkering down as best as I can, I'll tap into the way. And I'll invoke one of my battle meditations.
Okay.
Which is the protective meditation, which lasts for 2 hours. Interesting duration, but it's gonna last for 2 hours.
It's gonna last for at least this combat. That's fine.
Yeah. If this goes on for more than 2 hours, we're gonna be in trouble, guys. So what it is all enemies get -1 penalty to hit rolls against me, and I get +1 against to all saving throws made to resist abilities that they can be resisted with a saving throw.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's probably my turn then, because it's the meditation thing.
Indeed. So, next we go on to Toga. What is Toga doing? And obviously at any point, I know you're not on the ship as Balan, Rob, but obviously you're in communication, you can only really talk, but anytime you want to like interject over with Balan talking through, you can do that. But obviously, you're in charge of Togger for this combat.
Yeah, that's cool. So I am kind of hiding in a doorway, so they kind of can't see me. And what I want to do is I want to just, I guess, stick my shoulder out and fire twice into the cargo bay and see if I can get any of these guys.
Go for it. Make your roll.
Okay. So I'm guessing a 9 misses.
It does indeed.
17.
That hits. So you're doing 6 damage.
8 damage.
8 damage. Okay, so you shoot at the first advancing cyborg. There is a loud explosion as you hit its chest, and a shower of sparks sprays out of it, and it collapses to the side with a loud clang.
Okay, and then I just want to drop back into the doorway so that I'm harder to hit.
Okay, no problems. We move on to Tylo. Tylo, you're in the control center of the ship. You've got access to all the systems. Obviously, looking back through like 2 sets of doors, you can see beyond the crew quarters, sort of marching through the cargo bay in lockstep, are these shining silver centurions all wielding laser rifles. You've seen Tan's getting himself ready, igniting his star sword and his energy shield. Togger's snapped off a couple of shots. You've seen one of the cyborgs go down, spraying sparks out of its chest, not uttering a cry or any sign of emotion, just the red light dimming on its visor as it falls to the ground. What do you do?
Well, obviously, I'm keeping my eye out for these other ships.
Okay.
I'm just trying to work out the gravity field in the ship. Is it limited to, if I turn it off, everywhere goes off, or can I turn it off by compartment?
I think it's probably a sort of all or nothing affair. Because obviously you don't tend to selectively turn off gravity in parts of the ship. But I'll tell you what, make me a D6 roll, since this wasn't decided beforehand. If you get a 1 or a 2, you can turn it off selectively.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, in that case then, plan B would be, as they're in the cargo hold at the moment, close the door, the airtight door between the 2 compartments, living quarters and the cargo, and then blow them out into space.
Okay, not a problem. So obviously you can also see all the compartments because you've got access to like all the cameras that are through the different departments. So yeah, you reach out, you jab the button. I presume you're just shutting the one between the crew quarters and the cargo bay. Yeah. Okay, so there's a and Tan and Togger, you see the sort of door slide shut and there's a hiss as it seals. You jab another button to sort of basically open the airlocks.
Yeah.
However, as you watch, you can see that all of the sort of silver cyborgs appear to still be stood there. You see they're like being buffeted a little bit as the atmosphere's sort of flooding out of that compartment, but their feet appear to be like solidly anchored to the ground.
That's fine, because at the moment they're getting exposed to some nice cold space.
Oh yeah.
So if
definitely.
they're cybernetic, it will start to have an effect.
Oh,
Yeah,
indeed.
run their batteries out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go on to the next round of the combat. Okay, watching on the camera, Tylo, you see 2 of the cyborgs head into the generator room. The other 2, although they don't actually move a section, they sort of move like up to the door, and you hear them basically sort of like pounding on the doors. I'm going to make a couple of rolls for them. Normally they wouldn't even have a chance of getting through these doors, but they're sort of cybernetically enhanced to be amazingly strong. So for the first one, doesn't do anything. For the second one, okay, so Tan and Togger, you can hear like the on the other side of the door, and through like the sort of reinforced like sort of glasscrete, you can see these centurion-like creatures hammering on the doors, but the doors appear to be holding stable for the moment. Obviously, you guys don't have access to the cameras because you're not in the cockpit, but you've seen two of them sort of heading away from the door, and then they sort of like were lost to view behind the others. So that's what the cyborgs are doing on their turn. So, Tan.
I'll go to where I think the noise is originating from, with the plan of, I know that we don't exactly have that kind of thing, but the thinking is, if they make a hole, what I'll do immediately is stick my star sword through the hole.
That's fine. There's no specific system for this, but basically what all we'll do is, if they do bash down the door, we'll then sort of interrupt and we'll cut to you doing your attack as you're like through the hole. Okay, Togger.
I guess I just want to do the same. Move up here.
Yeah, so you're moving up and you're readying yourself for if they come through.
Yeah, and I want to call out to Tylo that they're breaking through the door, and if they do, we'll all be sucked out as well.
Okay, and as Togger shouts that in his sort of brutish Clayson voice to you, we move on to Tylo.
Okay. Right, guys, you're going to have to kill those two and get to the two that gone into engineering. I'll lower the door when you're ready, and I'll start repressurizing the cargo bay.
Yeah, that's not a problem. As part of your action, it's now sort of repressurized. Okay, so we move on to the next round. So the two cyborgs battering at the doors. Okay, they continue hammering at the doors, and you've noticed like dents have started to appear in the doors. It's not given way yet, but they're obviously starting to make a little bit of headway. You've seen like parts of the doors be like as these cybernetically enhanced muscles are hammering on it. And then make a roll for the two in the generator room. Okay, they're doing what they're doing. So we move on to Tan again.
Well, I don't know how it works, but I guess we'll give the signal, like as soon as there's pressure outside, you can lift the door.
Yeah, the other area is now pressurized. If you want, Tyler, you can just be like
Yeah, I'll just open the doors for him.
Yep, so Tylo jabs the control and the door hisses open. You see the two cyborgs sort of like that hammering on it. They sort of draw back their fists and sort of like they go in for their laser rifles as the door hisses back, but both Tan and Togger, you get to go before them.
Yep. So it's going to be a case of them pounding at the door and then stepping back. And while they're stepping back, I'm stepping forward with the sword.
Yep, no problems.
And here goes.
They have an AC of 13.
Swipe. That's a hit. That's shit damage, but still.
That's 7. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's the worst I could do.
Yes, but it's not bad for the worst thing you can do.
However. Okay, so you slice one of these cyborgs diagonally across its chest. You feel brief sprays of heat as sparks shower out of it all over you. And you can see this, like, you can literally see its, like, electronic innards and what looks to you like it's partly biological inside. Like, it's not just a pure robot. You can see, like, fluids and bits of flesh and all entangled with the metal. As you do that, it sort of staggers backwards. It's still moving, but you notice the red light is like winking on and off erratically, and it's starting to move very sort of shakily and jerkily, and like it keeps making these like noises as it's moving. Togger, what do you do?
So I guess I want to shoot the one in front of me twice,
Go for it.
and then I want to, I guess depending on whether I hit it or not, step over it. So that's a miss. So that's a hit for 4 points of damage.
It is indeed. So you fire a shot from your weapon. It hits the cyborg square in its midriff. Again, there is a shower of sparks, and it staggers back slightly, although it is still moving. Tylo. What do you do?
I'm checking on the computer to see what's going on in engineering.
Okay, roll me a d6. Okay, so as you're checking what's going on in engineering, the two cyborgs there, they don't appear to have interfered with your system. However, they're effectively attempting to access your system and sort of get like the schematics. And you notice that as they're sort of like, normally to like hack into a system like this, you're limited by like how quickly you can type.
Yeah.
Whereas they seem to have effectively just like almost plugged themselves into like the computer port, and they're like ripping through like the encryption and the firewalls like ridiculously quickly, obviously being part machine themselves. They've basically gone through to the level where they can start examining the systems, but not enough that they can actually do anything yet. But it's not going to take very long, the speed they're going through. Okay.
I can't really shoot into anybody because I'd shoot one of the other ones. So
Yeah. Plus you'll be firing across two compartments, so it's like a bit
yeah. So
range.
I'll just keep on randomly adding another password to the computer.
Okay, no problems. I'll take that into account. So we move on to the two cyborgs. The one that's like almost down is going to fire its laser rifle at Tan. Which, even without the minus, that's rubbish. So as it's sort of struggling and it's like, it brings up its weapon a bit too slowly and sort of fires it a bit too soon. The laser blast hits the deck plating near your feet, Tan, instead of actually hitting you. So the one who is going to fire at Togger. That will be a hit, so Togger takes 5 points of damage. As a laser bolt slams into his shoulder. I'll make a quick roll for the two engineering. Okay, so Tylo, from where you are, you're doing your best to sort of outfox them and put extra security in place, but obviously you're trying to do it on the fly, and they are just like tearing through the, like as soon as you can put up encryption, they're sort of tearing it down and going straight through it. You think you've probably got maybe this round before they've like got full access to the system. Is Togger entirely down?
He is, yeah.
Okay, I'll put a little mark on him then. Okay, so yeah, so as we move on to Tarn, you've seen Togger take this laser blast in the chest. He crumples to the ground, this large scorch mark on his reptilian exterior. What do you do, Tan?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Are they blocking me, or is there room to move?
No, I mean, obviously you're not to scale with the ship, so you can move past them if you want.
Yeah, so the idea would be that I'm trying to fence my way across, and I'll try and get the one that's that just shot Toga. I'll
Okay, so that's a slightly more healthy one. Go for it.
Yep.
Make your attack roll.
Yep. Ah. 11.
Okay, so you would try and strike out against the one that's just felled Togger. However, as you're sort of dodging blows from both of them to try and like squeeze past them, you're not able to land a convincing strike on him. Tylo, you know you've literally got moments before they are into the system.
Okay, I'm going to go running through the compartment straight towards engineering.
Okay, so if you're running and doing nothing else, you can move 2 departments, so you could be in the same section as Tan. So anywhere you want within that sort of purple compartment, so feel free to move yourself. Okay, so as you're sort of dodging these cyborgs and fending off blows with your energy shield and trying to get a clean strike in with your star sword, you see Tan. Tylo, she sprints through the crew quarters, sort of like slides between the two cyborgs, and it's basically like full ball like T2 running towards the generator room. Okay, on to the cyborgs. So the one that's nearly out for the count will shoot at Tan. Which is obviously a miss. And the second one in that compartment will... I'm going to make a roll to see whether he shoots at Tan or Tylo as she runs past. So 1 to 3 it's Tan, 4 to 6 it's Tylo. Okay, so it's Tan. Again, laser blasts going wild, but none of them have managed to hit you yet, Tan, as you're sort of agilely moving around the compartments, throwing up your energy shield to block these laser blasts. We go on to the 2 in the generator compartment. Okay, and as you're all sort of fighting and dodging and running alternately, you suddenly hear a and the power flow to the ship appears to die completely, as though cut off, and the sort of red backup lights, like emergency lights, come on, casting this blood red radiance around all of the compartments. And then we're back to Tan.
Yeah, no, it's... I'm going to continue dancing around these two, and I'll take a swipe at the more intact one once again. $14?
Oh, it is just enough to hit, and 11 damage is more than enough to take this half-dead cyborg out of it. So would you care to describe how in suitably cinematic fashion you star-sword this thing out of existence?
I think given that there's 2 people from different angles firing at him, it's a case of him doing like pirouettes and just like falling to the ground, springing back up again, trying to do his best Captain America impression with the energy shield all the while, and then just like a mad lunge just from the struggle of trying to stay alive, just like huh! And it probably like just hits the center mass and then just goes up just enough to like detach the head as it comes up.
Indeed, as it goes up, it doesn't detach the head entirely, but you shear off like half of its sort of metallic helmet, and as that sort of flies off and pings off the wall of the department, you can see like the gaunt, emaciated face of a human, which has sort of various cybernetic implants all over it, and this sort of like visor grafted to its face with this red light sort of going like that. And as you drive the star sword the rest of the way up, this red light just like and it topples to the ground with the crash of armoured plating.
That's what we call a close shave.
Nice. Okay, Tylo.
Yep. Well, I'm going to shoot
Okay, go for it.
this one. How do I roll with the weapon?
If you hover over the sort of like the icon, it should change into a dice, and then if you click on it, it'll bring up a little window, and you can just click roll. Okay, so you're about to fire at this thing, and then at the last minute you're like, oh, they're right close to like the central control system. So you sort of like, you don't end up firing for risk of hitting the control system. Okay, so we have one barely functioning cyborg still in the cargo bay. That's going to shoot at Tam for all the good he's been doing so far.
Yeah, I think his targeting system got fried.
I think you might be right.
It's just he just can't get the hand up anymore. It's just
So,
at the floor.
in fact, I'm going to say with that sort of abysmal roll in a long series of abysmal rolls, as it sort of like one-handedly like brings up its laser rifle, you basically just sort of like reverse your sword and like straight through it, so like almost not looking at it, like under your arms. Mm-hmm. It stands there for a few moments, like, and then as you pull your sword free, it topples backwards a few feet, hits the wall, and slides down it. The light in its visor dimming and going out. Okay, so the two in the engine room. Okay, so as you're sort of heading towards them, they obviously finish whatever they're doing, and they sort of draw away from the control panel. As they do, you see both of them pulling their hand back on what look like tiny tendrils of wires, like snaking back into their gauntleted hands. They then immediately turn round, holding their rifles in one hand, facing you, and they go and hammer their hands on their chest. Over to Tom.
Well, I'm gonna. Well, I'm just gonna say to Tyler as I move past, so just keep shooting at the one on the left, and I'll charge in.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Let's see how we do. Not bad, not bad. Okay.
Okay, that is enough to take this cyborg out. So you charge in, almost slicing this thing in two, and it topples to the ground. Tyler.
Keep shooting at the one on the left.
That one.
Is that your left based on the way you're facing, or my left? Okay, so is it the one that's already... It's presumably this one, the one that's still there that you're shooting at.
Yeah, this one.
So, yeah, so you have done enough to kill that cyborg. So describe how you cinematically take it out.
Let's see. It's the rifle's probably longer than I am.
Yeah, it's
So
hefty, and
I
it
will
seems
look
to be part
absurd
sort of,
holding it.
It does look a little bit
I'm
comical.
probably lying on my back whilst firing it, to be honest. Straight up through the chin.
Nice. I imagine you sort of like sliding on your back,
Yeah.
and then as you're below it,
Yeah.
its head sort of like the top of it explodes upwards in a shower of sparks, and it falls to the floor.
Yeah, because I need to reset the computer at this point. I'm not too concerned about him.
That's absolutely fair. Okay, so as you run into the control room, we're going to jump back in time a few moments, and we're going to jump over to the DSG 13145. Which I've laid out in a similar fashion. Obviously, we've only got Judo and Balan on there, since we had Balan sort of piloting and we had Judo on the weapons previously. Rather the same as we've just described over on the Defiant. As you look down at the instrumentation, Balan, which is probably why Balan didn't really say anything to you while your fight was going on, you likewise register a massive outflux of energy from the center ship, and from the cargo bay there is this of displaced air, and as you watch there is a blinding flash, and 5 of these metallic cyborgs appear in the cargo bay, all lifting laser rifles in unison and starting to step forward. The last thing you see before the door shuts, obviously Judo's in the weapon thing, you see him panicking, slap the button on the door, and the door starts to go shh. Can you roll me a d6 please?
Tree.
Okay, so luckily the door does slide all the way shut, and you hear Judo on the comms being like, "But we've been boarded, we've been boarded."
Okay. How many?
5, I think.
Okay.
And obviously you've got access to all the cameras and all the stuff that Tylo had on the other ship, so you can see that there's 5 of these cyborgs. Sort of 3 of them appeared to be sort of heading, well, one of them's heading towards you with another one following. One of them is sort of hammering on the door of the weapons compartment that's got Judo in, and the others appear to be sort of making their way towards the generator room. However, they've not actually left their zone yet. That's just to give you an indication of where they're heading. But you get to react before they do, Balan. So what are you doing?
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to shut the door, the door to the generator room, to prevent them getting access to it.
No problem. So your action for the round, you hammer the button. There's a roll me a d6.
Okay.
Anything but a 1, you're grand, because obviously your ship isn't in full working nick.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so 3.
There's a few moments where the door slows down a bit, and you're like, "Come on, come on," and then it goes, and you hear it. You hear the of it sealing.
Okay. Does this ship have any internal security features, being a gunship?
It doesn't have any internal security features that you've got working yet, no.
Okay. Okay, so then I guess what I want to do is move out here and call on Judo to keep his head down and get ready to come out when they're distracted.
Okay. And we move on to Judo, and I'm placing Dave and Johannes in dual control of Judo. So what are you guys wanting to do? Like you say, he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the weapons, they're sort of working, we're doing all right, keep away from anything." Then he's like, "Oh shit, we've been boarded." What are you guys wanting to do?
The instructions were to keep your head down, so I guess that's what we'll do.
Okay, no problems. And if you need to see Judo's stats, you can double click on his icon. He's basically got a laser pistol and a spanner. Is pretty much what he's armed with.
Yeah. There's probably a drawing out of the laser pistol. Make sure that the energy cell is inside, and then squat down, stay out of sight.
Indeed. Okay, so we move on to the cyborgs. The 2 here are moving into the same compartment as you, Balan. And I'll make a roll for the one who's hammering on the door that Judo's behind. Okay, the door's holding for now, and the 2 are hammering on the door to the generator compartment. Okay, that's holding, although they have made like a couple of little dents in it, only minor stuff. Okay, the two that are in the same compartment as Balan are going to fire at you. Okay, is a 15 a hit?
No.
Okay, in which case you, at the last moment, you throw yourself to one side as this laser bolt goes poof, it hits the wall behind you, and there's this large scorch mark on the wall behind you. Okay, the second one. Also misses. So we move on to Balan.
Okay, so are these one hit dice enemies, creatures?
No,
No.
the two hit dice.
Okay. Cool. So I want to, from the location I died to hide, I want to just kind of pop up and shoot off 2 blasts of the rifle.
Go for it.
That's a miss.
Yeah, they're AC 13.
Oh, and that's a hit for 8 points of damage.
Okay, so you have dispatched one of these cyborgs. As your shot hits it, it explodes in a shower of sparks, sending shards of hot metal raining through the compartment. Okay, then we move on to the cyborgs. So I'll do the one that's going to be attacking Balan first. Which misses abysmally. Then the one hammering on the door where Judo is. Okay, unfortunately, he rips a huge hole in the door as his movement action, and he's going to attempt to shoot Judo.
Or one-arm bandit.
That's exactly. Who unfortunately only has an AC of 10 and only has 4 hit points.
I make an argument. If there's room,
Go
as
ahead.
he was hunkering down, does he have bonus?
He does indeed. That's a very wise call. He gets a plus 2 AC. So literally, this thing comes through. It raises the laser rifle. It's got Judo Final dead to right, and at the last minute, he dives behind like the weapons control console. The laser blast that would have spelled his doom like obliterates the weapon control console,
Just a shower of sparks.
and he's basically now sort of like in the open, like his cover's been destroyed. But luckily, it saved him, so he's like crouching just behind like a rapidly dispersing crowd of smoke, probably breathing quite heavily. Okay, the two are pounding on the door of the generator room. Okay, so they've started to make some, and you can see this Balan on the sort of the cameras that you've got working throughout the ship. They've started to make some like serious dents on this door now. Between the two of them, it's not going to take them much longer to like smash their way through this door.
Okay.
And speaking of Balan, it's back round to you. Oh no, we've got Judo first. What does Judo do?
Shoot it, isn't he?
It's probably shooting time, yeah.
Okay. I'll slide that into the same compartment as you, because technically it's there. But yeah, whichever one of you wants to make your attack roll, feel free.
Okay, yeah, I've got the sheet up now, so just do that. No, nope.
Okay, so obviously sort of like coughing from the like smoke and like glancing around for cover, he quickly takes off like a snapshot, but it goes over the shoulder of the cyborg, and it sort of like ricochets around the cargo bay for a few moments. Balan.
Okay, so again, I want to shoot this guy near me. Ooh, okay. then the second one. Which is a hit for 5 points of damage.
Indeed, you shoot this cyborg. There's another spray of sparks, and you can see like a deep hole in it. However, it is still just about functional. Although, again, its movements have become sort of jerky and uncoordinated, and there's strange sort of like whirring and like electronic sounds issuing from it. Okay, so we move on to the cyborgs. So the one attacking Balan. Doesn't even get close to you. You're sort of keeping yourself moving around the compartment, and with the severe damage you've done, it's obviously, as you say, its tracking systems have obviously been damaged. It brings its weapon up. It's about 15 seconds too slow. It fires it off, but you've already moved out of the way, and the bolt just like slams into the bulkhead behind you. Okay, the one that's attacking Judo, who unfortunately now doesn't have cover because it got blown up last time. So make a roll for that.
Yes.
Luckily, it would appear that Judo's erratic behaviour has confused the ever logical cyborg, and it sort of predicts where, like, logically Judo would go, moves its weapon there and fires, expecting him to like move into its line of fire. However, it wasn't expecting him to like dive below the wreckage of the desk that had just got blown up, and
Just slips on something and just falls.
He slipped on what fell out of his pants, mate.
to be fair, I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, no, he's in a bad place.
Okay, so the two are hammering on the door. Okay, they continue pounding on the door. The dents are getting deeper in the door. You can hear on the sensors, Balan, you can hear like an ominous like creaking coming from the door as they're like, and you can see the dents getting deeper and deeper in the door. And then, speaking of Balan, it's back around to you again.
Okay, so once again, I want to get rid of this guy so I can go and get the guys in the next room. So I will shoot. And miss. And then second time. Sorry.
It's all right.
And miss again.
Okay, so you fire off a couple of shots quickly. One of them dings the cyborg, scoring its armor plating, but not enough to do it serious damage. Okay, so we move on to the cyborgs.
Well, Judo as well, right?
No, Judo's last in the round.
Okay, well, yeah.
He's got his spanner. He's okay.
He's having a bad day.
Okay, so the one attacking Balan. Nah, nothing doing. Okay, the one attacking Judo. Again, you do get the cover bonus now because you've sort of like, as you say, slipped and accidentally fallen behind some cover.
I keep forgetting that we have a fancy round thing here in Foundry.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so luckily, again, the sort of metal plate that Judo sort of like lifted up and is like hiding behind takes the brunt of the blast. Then we go on to finally the two cyborgs who are hammering on the doors of the generator room. There is a loud as they smash their way through the doors and step into the generator room. So let me just drag them down. If it would let me do it, then it'd be just grand. There we go, so they moved into the generator room, but that's their entire action. Now we come on to Judo.
I'm thinking Judo's gonna book it. Because this is a death cabin. I think it's gonna go. It's gonna go
That's
there.
absolutely fine, no problems. So you dive round the cyborg and you run into the cargo bay.
Yep. And just snap a shot at the cyborg there.
Go for it.
Yeah, in front.
Into the face.
Yeah. Come on. Come on. No.
So close.
No.
Okay, so as Judo's running, he fires off a shot, but obviously Judo's like a mechanic. He's not a trained combat person. He's like the guy with the spanner who like fixes things. So he snaps off a shot with his pistol, but it misses the mark and it like sizzles into one of the bulkheads. And then it's back round to Balan.
Okay, so once again, this guy is starting to irritate me, so I'm really keen to get him out. Ooh. That's a hit for 4 points of damage.
Okay, that will definitely do it. So as you fire at this cyborg, there is the obligatory shower of sparks, and he disappears as he falls down to the ground behind some of the consoles in the room.
Okay, and then I'd like to move into the cargo bay,
That's absolutely fine for you to move yourself.
and I just want to find some cover in there. And I'll call out to Judo to get to the cockpit and activate the internal security features.
Okay, now obviously on your next round, if you run Judo, you can get it into the cockpit, but you won't be able to like do the access in the systems and whatever until your turn after, because you can either move one and take an action, or you can move two.
Yep.
Okay, so we move on to the cyborgs. This one is stepping out, following you guys into the cargo bay, and I'm going to make a roll. 1 to 3 Judo, 4 to 6 Balan. Okay, it's Judo.
Come on, buddy.
To be honest, he's doing pretty well so far against all the odds. He's the plucky survivor, or is he?
Oh no.
No, not anymore.
Probably not.
Oh no.
Okay, so
He's dead.
Balan, you're like Judo, get to the cockpit, activate the internal security features. He like shouts something back in response, starts running. He's just getting to the door when you hear this like the cyborg walks out, lifts its laser rifle. There's a the bolt hits Judo in the back as he's running. His momentum carries him forwards, and you see him sort of smash into the bulkhead at the far end of the crew quarters, sort of slides down it, slumps to the floor, and lies still. Okay, so that's the first cyborg gone. The two are in the engine room. We'll continue doing what they're doing. Obviously, it's not going to be as difficult to hack into this because it's an old system and they've not got Tylo sort of like actively working against them on this ship. Okay, so as you're sort of running through the cargo bay, through the hole in the door to the generator room, Balan, you see these two cyborgs like sort of holding their rifles now in one hand. They lift up their other hands to like the access ports, and you watch as wires snake out of their gauntleted hands into the access ports, and you see like lights start like flickering all over the machinery as they start sort of working their way through the encryption to access the systems.
That definitely looks like good news for me.
Okay, Balan, what do you do?
Sorry, I am sticking with the original plan, so I'm going to shoot this guy in front of me. Ooh! With any luck, that's another dead cyborg.
He is done.
Okay.
So as he's just finished shooting and killing Judo, swings his gun round to you, but before he can even bring the gun up, you're like... He gets shot twice in the chest. The force of the blow throwing his body backwards into the weapons compartment. There's a shower of sparks as it hits the deck and lies still.
Okay. And with my second shot, I'd like to put one into one of these guys down here.
Yep, go for it.
Oh.
Look at that beaut. Okay, so this cyborg you've just shot, it sort of slumps to the floor with sparks spraying out of its back. However, you can see that its hand is still sort of on the control panel. It's still got the wires and the access port, although you can see it sort of like shuddering slightly and emitting these strange whirring noises. The sparks like dripping off it and sparking briefly on the grill of the floor, as it's obviously like not long for this world, but against all the odds it's still going. So I'll make a quick roll for the two cyborgs. Okay, they are still working their way through to accessing the system. So, Balan.
Okay, so I want to come down here and basically shoot them again. I'm shooting at the full one now.
Yep.
Okay, that's a miss. So then a second shot.
That is it.
Okay. For 7 points of damage.
Okay, so that one is also almost dead as there's a cloud of sparks. However, they are both still going. So, I'll make a roll for them, doing what they're doing. Okay, so as you're getting ready to finish the two of them off, suddenly there is a and all the power throughout the ship dies. There is a flickering as the red emergency lights come on.
Okay.
You see the wires snake back into the cyborg's hands, and they sort of start picking up their rifles and turning towards you, but you get to act before them.
Okay. I don't suppose there's a coup de grace type situation here.
To be honest, they've got 1 hit point each. So basically, if you hit one of them, it's dead, because you ain't going to roll less than like 1 hit point.
Okay.
But obviously, they could still be saved by their armor, so it wouldn't just be a straight coup de grace.
Okay, so that one's a miss. That looks like a miss as well. Okay.
Yep, so you snap off a couple of shots, hitting them, but their armor deflects the force of the blast. So I'm going to do their attacks against yourself. That one will miss. Second one. Also misses.
Okay.
Over to you.
So again, just want to pop up and shoot the two of them. Okay. So that's a miss. Okay, and that is a dead cyborg.
Indeed. So you snap off a shot. One of the cyborgs explodes in a shower of sparks and metal and is no more. So the one that's still standing will take a shot at you. It abysmally misses. You can see the red light in its visor is winking on and off, and it's so you can see it's trying to track you, but it's obviously its systems are obviously failing. So can you get that final hit in to take out that last
Here
cyborg?
we go.
It's almost dead. One more hit. One more hit. That's all we need.
So no.
So you do your first shot to find your range. That's the warning shot.
And boom. Dead cyborg.
And then as it sort of lunges towards you, perhaps hoping to engage you in hand-to-hand, as you see the red winking light of its visor coming closer, you literally stick your laser rifle like right against its head as it lunges forward and go,
Oh.
its head snaps backwards. What passes for like brains in it explodes out the back of the helmet, and it collapses backwards and is no more. Okay, so we're effectively out of combat on both ships. Both of your engines are currently, well, your power plants are currently down. So I'm going to move us back to the main sector map. Obviously you still have communications between your ships, since their communications are sort of powered by the emergency power, in case you need to send out a distress signal or whatever.
Okay. So I guess I want to, being the only person left on my ship, I want to start getting the power back on.
Okay, no problems. So, make me a d6 roll. Do you have any special mechanical talents, or?
From a fluff perspective, I do. Mechanically, no.
Okay, that's fine. Roll a d6.
1.
Okay, so you can see that effectively they appear to have sort of planted a virus in the computer systems that are controlling the generator, because obviously it's far too complex a process to do manually, so you have to computer programs to do it. Basically you're sort of initiating a system purge to like try and like reset the system to get rid of the virus that's in it. So you'll need to keep rolling d6s. If you get another 1, the system is purged and you can flip it back on again and you're good to go.
Okay.
Okay, so over on the Defiant, what about you guys? You're in pretty much the same situation.
I've got jury rigs, so once per day I may attempt a quick fix.
Yeah, that only lasts for so long, doesn't it, though, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, so that's as long as it's long enough to get out of here.
Yeah, if you want to do your jury rig, I believe you get a roll to see how long it lasts, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you can do that automatically because it's a talent you've got.
Yeah.
So make your roll to see how long it's going to last.
2d6.
Okay, and does it say whether it's rounds or turns?
Rounds.
Okay. That's fine. So you're pretty much in the same situation. You're like, oh, they've implanted a virus that's like working its way through the system. You're like, I haven't got time to like purge the system and like restart it all. There's 3 ships bearing down on us. So you effectively just like firewall it in the part of the system it's in, and
Yep.
you reroute the most important bits. It's not going to be up to full snuff, but you've rerouted the most important bits around those infected sectors. So at least until the virus can get through the firewalls, i.e. when your jury rig stops working, you have maybe 85 to 90% power.
Yep.
And like the lights sort of flicker on. They occasionally sort of flicker a little bit, but the red emergency lighting goes off and the main lights come back on.
Run back to the cockpit.
Yeah, no problems. Obviously we're not in combat anymore, so you sprint back into the cockpit.
I'll hit cloak.
Okay, no problems. So yeah, you hit the cloak and your ship appears to vanish. Okay, so whilst all this is going on, Tylo's tear-arsing around the ship, trying to sort it out the best way she can. Tan, what are you doing?
Well, I can't truly be of a lot of use, but I guess I'll pile up the bodies and the body parts. Clean up.
Okay, no problems. Roll me a d6.
5.
Okay, so as you're piling the body parts up, you can now see, as you're sort of like looking at these cyborgs, that it's quite clear these were once normal people who've had cybernetic implants and various bits and pieces like grafted onto them. The sort of resulting procedure appears to have made them very gaunt. Presumably they're not eating in the normal way people would. They're sustained by these cybernetic. You've probably never seen anyone as cybernetically enhanced as these people. You've probably seen the odd person with the odd cybernetic leg or arm. Obviously, we know Tylo's got a little bit of that cyber vibe going on. But like these people, aside from like their torso and their head, pretty much everything else has been replaced by cybernetics. And the armour they were wearing was even like sort of like grafted and like cybernetically linked into a node on their chest. And obviously the helmets were sort of cybernetically linked to them. But as you're sort of piling them up, you're like, okay, some of them have been damaged, but like cybernetics are pretty valuable. And like there's a big old pile of cybernetic parts just like lying here now. I mean, like, okay, yeah, there'll be a couple where like, oh, we've shot them in the chest, we can't use anything there, but like they've still got cybernetic legs, arms, etc.
Yeah. So I guess as I do my vulture duty, I'll also have checked out Taga. Is he like annihilated?
Togger has a hole about this size that goes straight through his back and out of the front of his chest.
Okay, probably not solvable by medkit then.
No, he is beyond dead. He's like Marty McSuper dead.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we move on to the main map where, not being able to see the Defiant, two of the Star Cruisers are going to fire at the gunship. Okay, so first one misses. Second laser cannon. Also misses. Third laser cannon. Just misses. So from the cockpit where you are, Balan, you literally see this like searing blast of like laser fire sort of skim past, maybe less than like a foot away from like the front of your vessel. Last laser cannon on the first ship. Again, misses. So onto the second ship. And I'll just rattle through these as quick as I can. Okay, so there is one hits your vessel, so you would normally be taking 16 damage. That is reduced by 3 because of your shields.
Okay.
And obviously your shields have dropped by a point. I'll change that for you.
Okay.
If you can just handle the hit points.
Cool, yeah.
I'm just going to make a note of what your current shield rating is so I don't forget. If my system would hurry up and catch up, that is. Okay, there we go. So that was 2 laser cannons, so the third one misses. Second one, sorry, fourth one. That hits, causing you 9 points of damage. That's reduced by 2 because of your shield. However, your shield capacity is now down to 1.
Okay.
Okay, what do you want to do?
Sorry, so I have a mini computer, John. So I
Yep.
guess would the mini computer interfacing into the old legacy computer increase my chances of being able to restore power?
I would say so, yeah. So
Okay.
make a d6 roll and I'll give it to you on a 1 or a 2 instead of just a 1.
Okay. Right. No. Okay. And then when I was in the cargo hold, would I have noticed whether there was any kind of space mines or any kind of anti-ship type?
There wouldn't have been any sort of anti-space mines, whatever. There'd have been like a few sort of vac suits,
Okay.
stuff like that. There wouldn't have been any sort of like major ordnance like left in there.
Okay.
Okay, so meanwhile over on the Defiant, obviously you're safely cloaked. You can see the sort of centre star cruiser, the one marked with an icon, hasn't fired. However, the two on either side of it have just been leathering laser bolts into the gunship that you know Balan is on. You've seen at least a couple of the shots hit it. You've seen the shield sort of flare as they're absorbing the energy and slowly getting knocked down. What do you guys on the Defiant want to do?
Are there any of those alien platforms around? You know, the big shooting platforms.
Tom, you're being asked if there's any large platforms around.
I don't know.
I will tell you what. Since the platforms were strong in the way, it's a long shot. But roll a d6. If you get a 1, I'll say perhaps maybe you can sense a disturbance in the way.
Oh!
Okay, so
Wait, I'm getting a call from the boss.
so I'm hoping you guys can see where I ping this. You're sensing a sort of disturbance in the way around about here.
Yeah, I'll put in the approximate coordinates.
Then that's where I will go.
Okay, now don't forget, you have to move a hex before you can turn a bit, and then move another hex, turn a bit. So you can't just like rip.
Yeah.
But obviously you can move up to 3 hexes max. And obviously you can move through other ships because you can fly over or under them.
So I could do that.
Now don't forget you need to move a hex before you can turn. So you have to move one forward, then turn. Then move another forward, then turn.
Okay, so hold on a sec. Let's put me back where I was. It was that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think it was...
So-
it was... I think...
Yep,
that.
okay.
Yeah, there we go.
So move one, turn. So once I can click on it again.
Yeah. I presume you're moving to there.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then turn.
Yeah,
And I've got maximum speed of 3, wasn't it?
yeah, and you could turn to be facing straight up. Basically, you can move like one side of the hex each
Yes,
time you manoeuvre. So
that's what I'll do. Let's get rid of that. Put that there
yeah.
and turn. So yeah, that's
Yes.
it. That's all I can do for now.
So you would have been able to turn to that face if you wanted to.
Yep.
Okay, no problems. So you start manoeuvring under cloak. Okay. DGS, what are you doing? Okay, the system's still stubbornly refusing to budge. You've managed to get some basic power up, that's why you've got shields, like your emergency power and stuff, but you're still struggling with the main power supply. Okay, so the 2 ships are going to shoot at you again, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll 4d20 for like the 4 laser cannons on each ship, because if they don't hit you, I don't see the point in rolling the damage, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a quick look at that. So one of those has hit you, and laser cannons do 4d6.
Okay.
Okay, so your vessel has taken 12, reduced by 1 for your shields. However, your shields are now down.
Okay.
Okay, so for the next one.
Okay.
So 2 of those have hit. So make a quick roll for the first one.
Yeah, that's it, gone.
Okay, so as you're sort of on the ship, mainly because I think it's a bit unfair to just be like your ship's blown up, your brown bread. As you're sort of wrestling with the control systems, you're hearing like alarms going off all over the ship. You're hearing like the sort of integrity compromised alerts going out. You can see the sort of like the hull of the ship is buckling. You hear the like shields are down, shields are down. And you're like, as you sort of like, you quickly like glance at the nearby terminal, you can see like another couple of like laser bolts like on, like they've got you dead to rights. What do? You've got a few moments to react.
So I guess I'm already in my spacesuit because I had to have it on to get onto this ship. So I guess I want to put the helmet on.
And James T. Kirkett.
Yeah, and basically, yeah, because I have a jetpack as well.
Yes, you do, yeah.
So I basically want to jump out the cargo door just as it's about to explode, and I guess I want to head for where I believe Tan has left single fire.
Oh, nice. I like your style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your character on the map. Sort of there. And just give me a moment while I sort out the token. Because I didn't really anticipate any of you sort of junior rocket man in it across across space, but fair play to you. Ironically, you're probably the best person to like be in space with like your jetpack and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just shrink that down slightly. And then I'm going to give your token vision. You won't have a great deal of vision because obviously you've not got like loads of sensors, and each hex in this is like miles of distance.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you... There we go. So you should just be able to sort of see around yourself. Now, from previously, because obviously you know where the bounty was left, you know it was sort of over in this direction somewhere.
Perfect.
Okay. So, as you guys on the Defiant are watching, obviously you're both sort of like monitoring the situation, you see a couple of laser blasts like slam it into the gunship. The hull appears to ripple almost like it's liquid, metal plates slowly spinning off, and a brief flare of fire as what remains of the atmosphere is expelled into the dark, uncaring void of space. And then as we sort of pan the camera down, we see, just as these laser bolts slam home, a tiny figure sort of running through the explosions with a spacesuit on, like this jetpack with like the little joysticks in front of it, leaps out just as the explosion goes off behind it, the concussive force sort of propelling him away from the ship as he like grabs hold of the control sticks of his jetpack and uses them to like struggles to like right himself as he's sort of like spinning off away from the ship. And on the Defiant you can pick up like a tiny figure. So on your sensors, like you're like one person's got off the gunship. However, you're in no doubt that like if you've picked them up, the enemy ships have probably picked them up as well. Because obviously Balan didn't have any time to be any stealthy or anything. He was just like, I need to be off this boat now. Doing the sort of cool guys don't look at explosions thing because he leaps out of the air and it explodes behind him. Okay, so Defiant. What do?
Where am I on this map? Because all I can see is Balan. Okay.
If you should drag a rectangle over that, you should select your token.
Oh, got it. Right, and so ideally I need to try and scoop up Balan,
Okay.
but that's gonna. I've only got a certain amount of time left before my entire systems fail.
Yeah.
But I'll have already told you on the comms that I'm heading for the bounty.
Okay, so I'll just keep on going for the platform then. So grab it, rotate it, 2, 3, and I think I've got 2 rounds left before I'm out of jury rig.
Yeah, that's correct. Let me just check my notes. Yeah. Okay.
I think Tarn's having a small tidy up. I think he's got OCD or something. So.
Well, I think probably what he's doing is he's because obviously trying to reach out across the vast distances of space. I mean, like tens of miles, just with the power of your mind to pick up a cloaked alien ship, isn't an easy thing to do. So I imagine he's trying to like meditate and trying to get more of a clear view of where
he's
you're
meditating
going.
his ass off. Yeah.
Well, that's it, exactly. Okay. So the enemy starships are going to continue moving forwards. This one is going to move 2. Rotate to there and then move down 1. So they are basically scanning this area for survivors. Now the thing you have going for you is obviously you're very small, and ship scanners are mainly meant to sort of locate big ships. So they're like, oh yeah, we've picked up like a tiny signal in this area, but it could be like a little rock, a bit of wreckage, it could be you. So like at the moment you're reasonably safe. So I'm going to ask you, can you roll me a d12, and it's only if they get a 1 that they've sort of pinpointed you.
No.
Okay, so the more time they spend scanning, that sort of chance will start ticking up as they're sort of like scanning over that area. Okay. But for the moment, you can see they fire a couple of laser blasts into the area that you're in, blowing up like small rocks and fragments of wreckage. So they're they're looking at you as you're like.
Okay. And am I a single hex I can move, or can I move it all?
You're single hex only.
Okay, and which of these ships was the one that already had a life sign in it?
Okay, let me just have a quick look and I will tell you. Okay, so that one there doesn't.
Okay.
Neither does the alien vessel behind your ship. Just give me a moment. So, no. Okay, so you think it must have been a vessel that was sort of somewhere over here.
Okay, so it's not none of the close ones.
Yeah, it's none of the ones in your immediate vicinity.
Okay. So what I want to do then is I want to move down.
Yep.
Hang on. To here and kind of try and hide behind that spaceship.
That's absolutely fine. So we go on to the next turn. So Defiant.
I want to use my reroute power skill.
Yep.
and put that into the firewall.
Nice. Okay, roll me a d6. Okay, you've bought yourself an extra round before it breaks down
That's
your
fine.
firewall, so you've got 2 rounds now.
And I'm
Not,
heading
not
for
including
here.
this one.
I'm heading for there.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. And ask Tarn, am I getting close to this thing?
Okay, Tom, the sort of disturbance in the force you're sensing is coming from here.
Yeah, currently, for whatever reason, I'm not... Oh, there we go. Right, okay. I had lost my vision. Cool. So now
It's all that high stress meditation reaching out into the depths of space, that's what does it?
Yeah, I've zoomed out too far now.
That's it.
Yeah, so we need to turn, and then I punch in some instructions in the nav console.
Okay, so although it's still cloaked, since you've got the coordinates, I'm going to make it visible just so you guys can see it on the map, because Tanner's got the coordinates and he's like punched them into your nav computer, so you know where you're going.
Cool.
Okay, we move on to Balan.
Okay. So again, I kind of want to move down to here, trying to keep this spaceship between me and their sensors as best I can.
Okay.
And these single fighters around it, any of them look like they're in good nick in any way, shape, or form?
Okay, let me just have a quick check for you. This one here has taken some serious damage, but it's like not completely obliterated, so that's a possible.
Okay.
This one sort of down here, there's just like fragments of that. That's not a goer, that's not happening.
Okay.
And the one behind the two of them is heavily damaged. It's about sort of 50% destroyed, this one. So this one here is probably your safest bet.
Okay.
Although obviously safe's relative in these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, can you roll me a d12?
I can.
Okay, again you see the 3 star cruisers, the cyborg ships, firing their lasers and destroying bits of asteroid and bits of debris from the gunship. They don't appear to have located you yet.
Okay.
Okay, Defiant.
Alright, so continue moving, and I'm really hoping, Tom, that you can tell this thing we're friendly and they're not, because I'm about to decloak.
Yeah. So I'll reach out.
Okay.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do.
Across the void of space to this ancient installation, and with the presumption that there's going to be some kind of guardian presence there.
Okay. So
contact that.
normally you would have a 1 in 6 chance of doing this. However, I'm going to sound, because you've communicated with one previously, so you have a bit of an idea of how they sort of operate. If it's the same as the first one, roll me d6. If you get a 1 or a 6, you have managed to make contact with it.
Yeah, I've got the codec for it now.
That's
so
it. You've got them on your quick dial.
Okay, let's see. Come on, fate. No, it's straight in the middle.
Okay, so with all the buffeting and the sort of humming of the cloak and all the various chaos that's going on, you're finding it a bit difficult to centre your mind at the moment. You're cross-legged, you're trying to meditate and like block out the distractions, but it's proving very difficult. Obviously, you can continue trying, but for the moment, you've not managed to make contact with it.
So I'll mutter to Tylo as we go. Just like can't reach it yet, as I'm in my mind palace.
Okay, I'm going to decloak where I am, John, by the way.
Okay, no problems. Let me just take your cloak icon off.
That should bring it online and hopefully distract those red things. And I've got 1 turn left before our entire system's shut down.
Well, maybe that will make us not a threat to the station, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just floating dead in space.
Yeah, we will also die, but
Okay, so the Defiant has moved. Balan is you're sort of like and trying to stay amidst the wreckage as you head towards this fighter. You see this shimmering probably about 15-20 miles away, and you see like the shape of the Defiant take on like solid form, apparently like moving away from you. What do you want to do, Balan? If you're talking, you're muted.
Sorry, I want to move down onto this ship, and I want to hide behind it, and then see on closer examination whether it could be started.
Okay. A lot of it's been damaged. Many of the systems have been damaged. You think it's going to take you like at least like, well, roll me a d6.
Okay. Oh,
Right, it's going to take you 3 rounds at least to get it operational.
okay.
But like, if you want to go on board and start doing that, you could have started effectively on the end of this turn, because you are sort of in the area of it. You won't get it won't count against your total this turn, but you could have like be in there and starting.
Yeah. No, I think I won't. I think now that I've seen the ship uncloak, I'm going to try and head for the bounty, which I know will start the first time.
Yeah, exactly. It does have that going for it. Okay. So, I'm not going to ask you to make a D12 roll, because obviously the Star Cruisers from the Cyborg Legion have now seen the Defiant, so they're not really that bothered about scanning for you, I'll be perfectly honest. So this one is going to move to there. And it's going to rotate. Oh, a bit too far. It's going to move to there. 2, 3. 1. 2. 3. Okay, so the Star Cruisers they've changed their course, they've slowly wheeled round, and they're now heading towards the Defiant. And speaking of which, Defiant, it is your turn. You're now 1 round remaining before your system is shut down.
So I'm going to move to there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm uncloaked, and I'm just going to turn to Tarn at this point and say, honestly, it's down to this way you believe in at this point, because we're shit out of luck.
And in fact, just as you say, we're shit out of luck, there's a ripple in space in front of you. And again, this strange sort of abstract looking weapons platform with these pyramid shapes, which you know to be weapons, sort of radiating out from the central spoke, shimmers into being as it uncloaks in front of you. And you see like lights slowly start to pulse on it, getting brighter and brighter.
As ours died, for coincidence.
As it starts arming up as the previous one did.
yeah.
I'll then run to the back and just yank out the hard drive, because there's not much else I can do.
Yeah, not a problem. You rip it out. There is a... and the emergency lights come on again.
Yeah. I am reaching out to the void.
Go for it.
Well, not to the void, the way, because we don't do the other thing. That's for the other guys.
Yet.
I've changed my mind.
Yeah, I mean, next turn once we are losing
I've always had
oxygen.
love for the void.
Hey, that's what it takes.
Yep. Okay, here we go. Come on, the wet. No. Okay, well.
Okay, so you can continue trying.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you know it's going to take the weapons platform a bit of time to power up.
Yeah, it seemed to be taking a good amount of time working through whatever it does.
Indeed.
Producing.
Balan, what are you doing?
I am moving one step closer to the bounty, just here,
Okay.
and trying to hide again behind this spaceship, so I don't get seen by these star cruisers.
Okay. Make your move.
That's me done.
Okay. So the cyborg star cruisers are closing in on you guys. You know that basically if they continue this move they'll be within range of the Defiant next turn. And speaking of which, it's over to the Defiant. The weapons platform's still powering up.
I'm just going to start rebuilding the computer and hope for a quick death while I'm doing it.
Okay, no problems. So you've spent one round doing that. It's going to take you another 2 rounds to have it fully up and running.
Yep.
So I'll as I'm muttering, I'll probably have my comms thing on because I can't fully focus on it while I'm meditating, but because I keep getting rebuffed by the platform, I just sort of sub-vocalize the status update. It's like, still can't reach it. If you start losing oxygen, you can get a couple of minutes if you jam 2 stims at the same time. Can't reach the thing yet, though. And I'll try again. No, getting closer to at least one end, but no.
Indeed. Okay, so it's over to Balan. You're muted if you're talking.
I just want to jump on here and get into the bounty, but not start it up, not do anything, draw attention to myself.
No problems. So I am going to remove your token from the board. So you should be able to select the bounty and move it. But you're inside, you're basically ready to go. You've just got to like flip the switch and you are good to go.
I don't seem to have control of that.
Okay, just give me a moment. Allied starships. The bounty. Okay, try it now.
Yeah, haven't now yet.
Okay, cool, lovely. So yeah, you're literally in the seat, you're strapped in, you've still got your spacesuit on and everything, but you've like pressurized it. You've just got to like flip the switches and you're good to go.
Perfect.
Okay, so onto the star cruisers. Okay, at which point all 3 of the Star Cruisers start firing. So, first 2. And the final one. Okay, so on the Defiant, you hear the sizzle of the proximity alert as laser blasts head towards your position, and you close your eyes tightly as you're expecting your ship to blow apart, and then after a few moments, Tyler, you sort of open one eye, and you realise you've not felt any impact on your ship, and as you sort of like look around out the cockpit, you see that the 3 Star Cruisers actually appear to be firing at the weapons platform rather than yourself.
Still fixing the computer then.
Okay, so yep, you're fixing the computer, so you've got one more round after this and power is restored. The weapons platform is still powering up. Tan.
We are continuing with meditation. I'll actually I'll get the star sword, and I'll hold it in my lap, in my hands as I do this, because I have absolutely no idea if that helps at all. But you know, when you're in space and you're about to die.
Okay, roll a d6. If you get a 1, 2, or 3, you have contacted the platform.
No, but I've moved on to 5s now, John. So.
Okay, I understand. You do feel like it's definitely becoming easier as you're holding this alien star sword, this piece of tech that seems to belong to the people who've made the weapons platform.
Mm-hmm. So I'm starting to sweat from the effort now, because I'm truly doing something I haven't really trained for, and I'm putting all that I have into it.
And in fact, as you're sort of doing it, and you're beads of sweat pouring off you, sort of soaking into the underlayers of your clothing, you're struggling to keep your thoughts together to deal with this like interface with this alien technology. And as though like far off from a memory, you hear the voice of your old teacher, Ken Bonobi, going, "Focus, feel the way."
You search your feelings.
Indeed. Okay, so on to Balan aboard the Bounty.
Okay. So I basically want to fire it up.
Okay.
I have to move through the asteroid field, right? Because that's the direction I'm pointing.
Yep.
So I basically want to, and I have movement of 5. So I basically want to move 5 in a straight line.
Okay, well, hold on a second, because you're flying through an asteroid field.
Okay.
So, in order to fly through an asteroid field, now, obviously, the slower you go, i.e. the slower the thrust you go, the easier the roll is to make, because you can maneuver. Whereas if you're just like full ball, like, it's a lot harder to avoid asteroids. So, what level of thrust, i.e. how many spaces are you using?
So I guess I'm hoping to kind of slip away under the radar without kind of drawing attention to myself.
Yep.
So I'd be happy to just move 2.
Okay.
If it was easier to get through the asteroid field.
Okay, so this is a moderate asteroid field. So as long as you don't go above 50% of your maximum thrust, which you haven't, you are fine, and you do not have to make a saving throw to avoid rocks, because you're moving slow enough that you can pilot around it, 'cause it's only a moderately dense field.
Okay. And that will get me to here.
However, as you are passing through it, you hear from the instrumentation panel of the fighter that you're piloting a radiation alarm going off. You are picking up levels of radioactivity, only light coming from this place. And the way this works is radiation causes damage per round to anything passing through it, unless they have advanced radiation shields.
Okay.
Now, since this is only a light radiation, you would only take 1d6 damage on the ship. Can be deducted by shields as normal as you move through it, so I'll make a d6 roll.
Okay.
So the bounty takes 4 hit points of damage
Okay.
as
And
it
that's
moves through.
dropped down to 1 because of the shields, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, 24. Perfect. And is there a source of the
It appears to be
radiation, or is it just...
it's from the asteroids.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to do the star cruisers shooting at the weapons platform, and they literally appear to be like firing like everything they've got at this bad boy. Obviously, they're recognizing it as advanced technology, and they're just like, we need to deal with that, but quick. Okay. So again, blasts of laser energy strike the weapons platforms. You see bits of the weapon platforms sort of like spinning off into space as it's slowly being demolished by these star cruisers. However, it is still powering up. Back over to the Defiant.
So I'll slam the hard drive back in now that it's been repaired and bring everything back online so I can cloak.
Yep, you slam the hard drive back in, like you literally push it in with one hand and then like flip all the switches with the other hand, and the instant the power goes and the lights come back on, you slam the button for the cloak. Your ship shimmers and disappears. Okay, Tom.
Yeah. Reaching out.
Oh,
Okay, so you reach out, and this time your call through the way is answered, and you hear a somber voice that seems to echo in your mind. It seems to fill the cabin that you're sitting in, although it's audible only to you. And you hear a voice say, "Who calls?"
A friend in dire need. We are being pursued. And are about to die.
I sense you are strong in the way. Who is it that... And this all takes place very rapidly, but it seems like a normal conversation in your mind. It's speed of thought.
Yeah, the speed of the way.
Indeed. The voice says, in your mind says, "Who pursues you?" I sense nothing from them.
Right,
And
and
their minds are sleeping.
we know that it's the Star Cruisers, just to make sure, John, that I understood. Are these still the Cybernetic Legion? Yeah. So, I'll say it is a melding of metal and flesh. A form of life devoid of a lot of the essential components of life.
You hear a voice say, "They have weakened me too much. There is only one thing I can do now to help you and to prevent myself falling into their hands. Move your vessel away from the platform. And goodbye."
Tylo, now would be a great time to bank away from the station. I say in that sort of like sleepy like half conscious voice.
Yes, I want to move then my full 3 moves. 1, 2, 3 to there. Well, it's 1, 2, 3. That's as fast as I can go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
And as you're sort of watching through your sensors, you notice that the pyramidal weapon structures that remain, a sort of lightning starts to like arc between them all, sort of getting brighter in intensity as the star cruisers continue pouring laser fire into this weapons platform. Balan on the Bounty, sort of slowly like threading your way between the other floating vessels. What do you do?
So once I get out of the asteroid field, I want to ramp up my power.
Go for it.
And I want to move the full 5
Yep.
in the opposite direction. That's 4, 5, and then I want to turn this way.
Okay, no problems. So, like I said, the star cruisers are pouring fire into the weapons platform. Defiant, it's back to you. What do you do?
Keep flying away.
Feel free to move yourself. Okay. At this point, Johannes, can you please roll me a d6? Nice.
I'm hooked into the information superhighway now.
That's it, exactly. From behind you, there is an incredibly brilliant flash of light as the weapons platform self-destructs. You feel a sort of a wash of this force sort of catch the Defiant. And it caught. Luckily, you're only on the edge, so it only causes you 8 points of damage. However, it seems to like bypass your shields just due to the sheer like destructive force. So I've made that alteration. However, the star cruisers, who are like not just on the edge, they're like quite considerably in it, they take far greater damage. So on your sensors you can see sort of like fires raging on the star cruisers behind. They've not been destroyed, but they've been severely damaged by this explosion. And of course, the weapons platform is no more. So over to the Bounty. You have also picked this up on your sensors, this sort of explosion.
Okay, so I guess I want to reach out on the comms. Can I communicate with the Defiant while it's cloaked?
Not while it's cloaked, no.
Okay.
You could broadcast a general signal and they would probably pick it up, but obviously that means anyone would pick it up because you're on like public channels.
Yeah. Okay.
Although you can see, as you sort of like using your sensors, that like the star cruisers, there's like smoke billowing out of them. There's like fires sort of flaring briefly out before it's snuffed out by the void of space.
Okay. So on the assumption that we had a predetermined rendezvous if things went wrong, I'm just going to broadcast, let's meet at the predetermined rendezvous point, and I am then going to move in that general direction.
And that is absolutely fine. So as I'm assuming the Defiant's going to continue on out of this area, leaving the Star Cruisers behind while they're damaged.
Definitely.
Okay, no problems. So as you're heading out, you see what appears to be a small, sort of crudely constructed vessel that appears to be sort of like moving roughly parallel to you. It's not spotted you, but it appears to be heading towards the damaged Star Cruisers. You can see like billowing smoke trailing out of the back of it. It's got like seemingly like old fusion engines, and it just looks like it's been bolted together by like the most unskilled mechanic you have ever seen. But it's obviously not picked you up because you're cloaked. And you continue out of the system. The bounty also makes its way out of the system to meet at the predetermined rendezvous point. And that, gentlemen, is where we're going to end the session for this evening. You have escaped from the graveyard, and although it may seem like you haven't salvaged a lot, you do have a pile of cybernetic implants and an alien star sword. So you're not without tech, and you have made it out reasonably intact. So we'll sort out XP and whatnot in a few moments. It just remains for me to say thank you to my players for playing, and to anyone who's watching this either now or in the future. Hopefully we'll catch you for the next session in a couple of weeks. Take care. I'm going to end the stream now.
Take care.